First tonight, we're following up on former President Donald Trump's announcement he will hold a rally in Aurora this Friday.
Trump has mentioned Aurora several times on the campaign trail in recent weeks, telling false stories about immigrants and gangs in the city.
Denver 7's Brandon Richard joins us live with more details on Trump's rally and what local leaders hope will come from it.
Well, former President Donald Trump will hold his campaign rally here at the Gaylord Rockies Resort. Now, this is technically within the Aurora city limits, but just barely by a few hundred feet. And of course, it's a long way from those apartment buildings the former president has been mentioning lately on the campaign trail.
Aurora, Colorado, you saw that, where Venezuelan gangs are taking over real estate. They become real estate developers.
Former President Donald Trump has talked a lot about Aurora on the campaign trail in recent weeks, falsely claiming the city has been taken over by Venezuelan gang members.
Because they're going to take over a lot more than Aurora. They're going to go through Colorado, take over the whole damn state by the time they finish. Unless I become president, they won't last long.
Trump will hold a rally in Aurora Friday afternoon. The rally will be held at Gaylord Rockies Resort and Convention Center, which is located about 30 minutes from the apartments the former president and his supporters falsely claim were taken over.
I would love to be able to talk to the president and show the president around the city and to have a briefing by law enforcement about the situation.
2 weeks ago, Aurora Mayor Mike Hoffman told me he saw Trump's visit as a potential opportunity to correct a national narrative.
I think it's a great opportunity to show the president that we are not a city that is overrun by Venezuelan gangs.
But others say instead of coming to learn, Trump is playing politics, which they say could backfire.
The last time that he came to Colorado, he made certain that Cory Gardner lost his election, and I suspect he's going to have the same assistance to our campaign because there's nothing that turns a Colorado voter off more than Donald Trump.
Chad Mirup, the chair of the Colorado Democratic Party, says Trump's visit will only further divide people.
He wants to come to Colorado to spew his vile hatred and division that he's race baiting and villainizing our immigrant community with. And that's not welcome here in Colorado.
Now, no word yet on how much Trump's visit to Aurora will cost the city. We know that cities typically spend tens of thousands of dollars providing help with security for high-profile visits like this, and many cities have had to wait years just to get reimbursed.
And Brandon, Trump's decision to hold a campaign rally in Aurora is a bit of a curious one, given that he lost Colorado by 14 points in the 2020 election.
And it's certainly not expected to win this year. So let's talk about what the campaign thinks they might accomplish here.
Yeah, even though the former president will be speaking here in Aurora, it's really just about optics. He'll be speaking here in Aurora, but he's not really speaking to a Colorado audience. Instead, he'll be more so speaking towards an audience of voters who live in those swing state, those battleground states who say that immigration is one of their top concerns. That's who he is really going to be speaking to on Friday. Of course, he'll want to paint a picture of what he wants them to believe Aurora is like. And of course, we've been hearing about him talking about Aurora on the campaign trail lately, and some of the stuff that he said, talking about how the city has been taken over by gang members, of course, is simply untrue. Reporting in Aurora, Brandon Richard, Denver 7.
Brandon, thank you. And looking closer at Trump's immigration policies, up to 2.7 million people could lose protection from deportation if Trump ends current safeguards for immigration. That's according to a recent analysis by National Foundation for American Policy. It says protections could end within the next 2 years if categories like temporary protected status or the deferred action for childhood arrivals, also known as DACA, are allowed to expire. Experts warn it could also have devastating effects on our economy.
Rates of work are very high among the immigrant population, and so we would see a lot of economic costs as a result of a mass deportation effort in Colorado. I think the main thing is that mass deportations would cause mass chaos and a mass economic collapse.
We're breaking down the economic and human impact of potential mass deportations in Colorado. Join us for that story tonight on Denver 7 News at 6.
We have reported extensively on the attention Aurora has received, circulated by the former president, that this Venezuelan gang had taken over those apartments. So all you have to do is scan the QR code on your screen. Follow this digital conversation online on Denver7.com as well, and you can read the latest crime data. You can hear from one group supporting new immigrants in Colorado about how those claims are impacting their work in Aurora.